So everything that I'm going to be sharing is located on the website that is about the Lockheed 2020 Fly Ranch Design Challenge. You can follow along at home at lockheed2020flyranch.org. And really that's one-stop shopping for all the information about what we're doing. And what we are doing is the following. On January 15th, we launched a partnership with the Land Art Generator Initiative, and I'll get to them in a second, to host a multidisciplinary design challenge to bring the foundational infrastructure, to bring the sustainable, scalable, experimental infrastructure to this property so that we can start to do larger scale events, long-term residencies, art builds, like all the kinds of crazy stuff that I know that we can imagine can happen there. We need stuff there to do it. And we want to do it in alignment with the 2030 sustainability roadmap. We want to do it in alignment with a lot of what we have been experiencing in Black Rock City, which, like, this is great, but it can't persist ad nauseum into the future. And so we have the opportunity to take the creativity and the ingenuity of the Burning Man community and rise to the next challenge of saying, let's do Burning Man in a way where it can last for longer than a week. Because I don't know about you, but after a week or a week and a half or 2 weeks on fly, like, I'm ready for that to be done. So the design challenge is in partnership, as I mentioned, with the Land Art Generator Initiative. They are a group that we met probably last June, and they have hosted biennial design competitions for works of art that specifically generate power. They've done this in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, in New York, in Copenhagen, in Santa Monica, and Melbourne. And they take a site and they say, do a site-specific design for this location. And then they will fund that and give an award for speculative design. So they have kind of that experience and expertise and the great back end for how jurors make their decisions and how people can submit their projects. And so we partnered with them and said, what you do is very interesting, but we want to challenge you to take it to the next level. So they have selected Fly Ranch as their 2020 design challenge. And instead of one location, we have selected 15 throughout the 4,000 acres. And instead of saying just works of art that generate power, we're saying, let's open this up to works of art that fulfill at least one of multiple categories. And I'll go through those categories now. There's a wonderful video on our website that you can watch if you want. I'm not going to have us all watch it here, in part because I have a hard time watching myself on camera, but the categories in which we are seeking submissions for people to propose their designs, we want them to loosely fit into at least one of 5 categories. That is power. We're 24 miles from the nearest power interconnection point, but we have 250 sunny days a year, high winds, dozens of hot springs. There's a lot of potential there for creating sources of power. Water is another category. There's a lot going on there. We have a lot of water. Shelter is the 3rd category. Anything that's gonna need to happen inside stuff, got to get the stuff so that stuff can happen inside the stuff. That's shelter. Food, which I'm very excited about because we have ample opportunity, as was just being alluded to build up soils, to start to grow some exciting things, to create positive feedback loops into the Black Rock City event and to the wider area, benefit Gerlach, benefit the Pyramid Lake Paiutes, really start to create some resources there for a region that is 80 miles away from the nearest grocery store. No offense to the Empire Store. And the last is regeneration, which is essentially waste output. How do you design systems that take things that would be waste and turn them back into input? So this is composting, recycling programs, biogas incineration, et cetera. That's the closed loop portion of things. So folks have until May 31st at midnight to develop some teams, to create some proposals, to put together and submit through this website projects that you would like to see at Fly Ranch or that you want to build at Fly Ranch. The timeline for this is that once we close that period, we will go through a couple of months of winnowing projects down from the submissions. We're anticipating somewhere around 400 or more submissions. We will go through a technical review with matter experts that have signed up to work for us. They will go through a juror review, and I'll show you some of our jurors in a moment here. And then there will be a winnowing process that right around Black Rock City this year, we'll be able to announce what those finalists are. or what the short list is. We will fund, as we do honoraria grants, a portion up to half of the budget required, and we will support groups with relationships with donors and possibly even creating a platform for fundraising that's like a non-monetized or a white labeled Indiegogo or something like that, that will allow people to receive donations and submissions to support their work. Right now, we have set that we know we have sidelined at least $150,000 to give away as we're going through this announcement process, and particularly as we have finalists. I expect and we expect that number to grow. As we have tangible things that people are going to fund, I think the support that we're going to be able to get to give monies directly to projects will increase. Right now, we have the capacity to fund between 2 and 3 projects that fit into each of these categories. The thing about doing things year round and things in a more permanent basis is that they cost a whole lot more than doing things at Burning Man. And so we're cognizant of that. You can find on this website the design guidelines. It says in detail what we're looking for, what the process for submitting is. There's a PDF document that is the full guidelines review. There's the selection criteria and what we're looking for, the need to have and the nice to haves. In terms of the site and the 4,000 acres that are being considered, this is an overview of the portions of the property that we are going to receive submissions for. What is in yellow is sort of our primary site boundaries. These are a contiguous, these are contiguous sections of property. Some of these are long water channels, some of these are open playa, some of these are grasslands and event space, some of these are water-rich pool environments. And so we really want to give people the opportunity to pick from a diverse option of sites and propose their idea on those. We also have anything that is allowable by Washoe County is allowable to be proposed in this area. So, you know, part of our juror pool includes folks from the county planning department. Part of our technical advisors include people who have worked for the Washoe County Planning and Building Department, building code. And so we'll be able to support teams with that. We also will have a certified Nevada architect who will be able to verify and get us through the planning process, which is great. The green areas are the low impact site boundary. So these are things that generally have a lighter footprint. They don't require deep foundations or excavations of the property, things that can sort of sit on and integrate with that space. In addition to what we know as Fly Ranch, what's also going to be included in here in this top portion, if you can see my mouse, is Black Rock Station, which is the Burning Man Work Ranch of several hundred acres, where right now we house DPW facilities, all the containers, all of our equipment over the winter, and use it as our operational facilities with an auto shop, a wood shop, a metal shop there. Also included in the low impact site boundary is the 360 acres that Burning Man acquired about 2 years ago, just on the edge of town. So if people are thinking of large scale utilities or things that might want to tie into a microgrid system in Gerlach or be more publicly accessible in that way, it's great to propose some projects in that area. Very excited about that. There is a ton of supplemental materials that are available on the website. So not only photographs of the site, maps of the site, 3D renderings, there's copies of the environmental sustainability roadmap, the Fly Ranch roadmap. I particularly want to draw your attention to the field guide for renewable energy technologies. You may not even be interested in putting together a proposal for this design challenge, but the materials that the land art generator team has put together is incredible as just a toolkit for sustainable technologies. And it's beautifully designed. It's several hundred pages of everything from you know, hydrogen power and PV solar to biogas capture and really interesting things. If you're like a tech nut about any of this stuff, it's a cool document. And I hope we get that in hard copy at some point. The jurors that I was referring to, really cool cross-section of people. Some of these are longtime burners, some of these are Burning Man founders, some of them are folks from the county or the state or the interior department of the BLM. Good to make friends there. We also have at least 5 of our juror pool of 25, we have at least 5 members from indigenous communities or folks that are doing work on behalf of indigenous communities. We have a student from the Pyramid Lake Paiute tribe. We have several tribal elders. We have folks, very briefly, you know, I can just read some of these off. David Rothschild, who's been a supporter. We have Matt Forkin, who's from Google X. People that are working on interesting sustainability or architecture or design or accessibility projects. Super cool list of people that I'm really glad are going to be involved. And some of these folks have asked to join events and get involved. And so, you know, we may see some of these folks at the event. I believe May 8th through 10th is when we're targeting for the first BWB Spring Summit. That event will be occurring while the submission window is still open. So if folks that get there and get really jazzed about something and want to throw some proposals and submit them before the end of that month, please have at it. We are here to support and happy to make it happen. This website is where folks can register for submitting and upload their documents for review. We're also going to be doing some work over the month of April. The Land Art Generator team will be in Gerlach for the entire month of April, working in the Gerlach station, building like green box science tech kits based on the stuff that's literally in these kids' backyards. So we're really excited to have them. They'll be putting together some proposals that'll be coming out of the school itself, which is very exciting. In an effort to get people to understand the site that they're dealing with, BWB community, for those of you that have been to the property, you have a great leg up. It's awesome. You've been there, you've walked around, you sort of understand it. You may have had conversations about some of the intricacies of what's happening there on that site. But we are hosting, go back to the design site, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 8 days of site preview walks. If you or folks that you know are interested in submitting proposals and want to really walk this whole site boundary, we are going to be doing that over the set of 4 weekends over the next 4 months, once a month. I can send you information on that on this website, but you can see some of those dates here if you have the visual up. First one is this Saturday. So we will be out there Saturday and Sunday doing our first walk, and then we will have our next set of walks coming towards the end of February. I am going to briefly roll through the group chat to see if there are any relevant questions. Great, no relevant questions to this, but I am happy to field any, or if Breedlove, you're pretty intimate with what we're doing. So if there's anything that you think that I missed that could be helpful to this group, please let me know.